Hi everyone, welcome to this month's PD. My name is Joanna. For those of you that don't know me, I currently collaborate with BGL, but worked as a kindergarten English teacher for the last 2 years in Taipei at Caixin. And this month we're going to be talking about phonics and how we can use music to enrich phonics instruction. First, we'll talk about music and how this connects to language development, and then how can you apply this to phonics instruction, some brief tips and demos that you can apply to your lessons, and then we'll end with the reflection and review. We all know what music is, and a majority of people enjoy it and connect with it in some capacity. The basic foundations of music, beat, rhythm, words, and sounds, these are all the important components of what makes music meaningful and why it's able to resonate with so many different people of all ages and backgrounds. We all know language and we interact with it on a daily basis, but it's important to define it in more specific terms. Essentially, language is a system of communication that's based on signs. These signs can take on different forms, whether that's through words or a combination of words like sentences. They can be represented written or in a spoken way through a sequence of sounds. And they're all intended to represent and deliver meaning to the person that you're communicating with. Speech, on the other hand, is a little different. These two terms, language and speech, are often confused and used interchangeably, but it's important to make a distinction here. Speech is the acoustic output of language, whereas language is based on the signs and the meanings that we use to interact with people and communicate. Speech is more of the physical production and articulation of the language that we see through voice and fluency. To better understand the functions of speech and how it connects to music, it's important to understand the term prosody. Prosody refers specifically to the rhythm and the patterns and the intonation of speech. In other terms, the melody of speech, what you're hearing. Music also has melody, so inherently music has prosody as well. Next up, we'll hear from Caitlin Cappuccilli, a speech-language pathologist who will explain a little bit more about the development of speech and language and how music can be used to enhance this process in different types of children. Throughout this section, think about how this knowledge can be used to format classroom instruction and how it can be used to enhance students' phonics skills as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Caitlin. I'm a speech-language pathologist. So primarily I work in early intervention, so that means I work with children ranging from the ages of birth to 3 years of age. A lot of the children I work with are on the autism spectrum disorder and they are nonverbal, so I'm working on their language and their speech. So there are actually many connections that can be made between music and language development. Music actually strengthens the connections in the brain for speech and language, as well as with reading and focusing and maintaining attention. Babies actually imitate the melody and the patterns of their native language well before they can even speak their native language. And we see this in really young babies who vocalize when they use pitch trills and when they babble. So pitch trills is when a baby might have a pitch and then they go up in their pitch and then they go all the way down in their pitch. So sort of something like, so when a baby or a young child hears music, especially when it's sung to them, this actually increases his or her ability to learn language. So young babies can recognize the patterns of music well before they even understand the words of what's being said through the song. So like I mentioned earlier, I work a lot with children who are nonverbal or who have really little language. So because a song never changes, it's really easy for a child to remember the words because it actually relieves the pressure of creating spontaneous speech. You might actually often see a child with autism communicate through what we call scripts. So scripts are a set of pre-memorized words and phrases that the child uses in order to communicate. So this is actually really similar with music. Children who are nonverbal or who have a disorder like autism are actually more likely to participate in learning music because they know what to expect. So just like when someone says ready, set, we know to respond with go, and this is called a routine set because we know what to expect. This is really similar to a well-rehearsed song. So once the child learns the song and feels comfortable singing it, they actually will be more likely to use language learned from the song in spontaneous conversation. So when we listen to music, we're actually using both sides of our brain. So we have a left side of the brain and a right side of the brain. The left side is dominated by language, and the right side is kind of what I like to call our creativity center. It's where our creativity and where music is processed. So a song with words actually activates both sides of the brain. Second language learners may not understand the words they're singing in a song, but they're actually learning the rhythm and the patterns of the song, which ultimately helps them memorize the music. The comprehension of the language comes after the memorization, so this is why we generally remember nursery rhymes from when we were younger. The memorization of the patterns in the song came before the actual comprehension of the song.
So music directly relates to Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences. As you may already know, this just outlines some of the ways in which students might learn differently, which allows us the knowledge to plan our instruction accordingly in order to engage them and maximize their learning experience. This aids with language development and development of pre-reading skills. It also gives students another method to engage with material and remember information better. It gives teachers the opportunity to vary their instruction and cater to different learning styles. And most importantly, music is fun. So how does all of this connect to phonics? Essentially, language development is a precursor to reading, and the development of language skills shows large connections to enhanced phonics skills. When you focus on developing things like speech prosody, you're going to aid with their letter and sound recognition. Songs also contain things like alliteration and rhyme, and this provides students with a better sense of phonemic awareness as well. So there are some strategic ways to choose music for phonics instruction. If you go to the PowerPoint, you'll see that there's some links that'll take you directly to these suggestions here. But some quick tips would be to choose a song with a strong rhythm or beat, associated movements, that has simple words, maybe alphabet songs that target specific letter sounds, repetitive lyrics, and rhymes are all good tips that you can keep in mind when choosing music. So when you're using music to teach phonics, you want to think about instruction in 3 different segments: before, during, and after. You want to review specific letter sounds that you would find in the song, teach vocab words that students might experience in the song, and then also be sure to show written words that to kind of reinforce some of the letters and the words that students are hearing in the music. So there's a couple of ways that you can teach the song. You can break this down into listening, singing, and dancing. Within each category of instruction, there's different tips for you to do this. Use visual cues to prompt the students while they're singing or while they're dancing so that they can follow along better, whether that's through objects or flashcards or prompts. And to really get the most effective use of song for phonics instruction, it's important to follow up. Do a post-phonics application activity that's directly related to the music that you taught in class. You can also read musical picture books, which I've included a link here in this PowerPoint that will take you directly to book versions of the songs that you might be teaching in class. Take a minute to check out the activity demos and reflect on how you can use these in your own classroom and build lesson plans around them. If you're with a partner, role play these demos and then reflect on how they went afterwards. In this first demo, teach the song included in the link titled "Where Are You Going?" and think about how to incorporate the tips that were just discussed to effectively plan lessons with songs. Think about actions you can assign to key vocab words in the song, such as shop and park, and then how you can use flashcards or objects to prompt students to sing these words during the song. In this second demo, students will learn the song Apples and Bananas and the different letters that can be applied to these words to change the overall sound of the word. It's useful to teach this song in sections and set up the letters that are used in each section on the board or around the classroom
and then have students find or point to that letter sound that's being used in each verse while they listen to and sing the song.
Okay, don't forget to check out the Try It in the Classroom section. For this first activity, I've included, activities that you can do before, during, and after your instruction of the song. In the second Try It in the Classroom activity, this is a centers and group activity that you can do. This is instructions for the teacher to implement this, things that the students should be doing, and then modifications as well if they're needed. As always, don't forget to take the review quiz. You can click on the link in the PowerPoint that's provided below. It'll take you directly to Quizlet. Click on the test option and then submit your answers that way. Okay, if you have any questions, let us know, but I hope this was helpful, and thank you for watching. Bye!